Hey folks, this is Topher. In this video, I'm going to show you how to convert this Add to Cart button in WooCommerce on a single product to a Buy Now with FastSpring button. The button is going to open a modal. Additionally, I'm going to show you how to pre-populate some of these fields to make the process of buying easier, as well as enter a coupon code for a discount. I'm using a modal in this demonstration, but you could do an interstitial checkout on the FastSpring servers or even embed a checkout directly in WooCommerce. Additionally, all three of them can be heavily styled to match your site design, so that you have a lot of choices here. I'm just going to use the default styles in this modal. Now, there are two reasons we'd want to do this. One is that using FastSpring for the checkout moves the credit card processing off your web server, which is a huge security win. Another reason is that you get to continue using WooCommerce and WordPress as your content management system, which is another huge win. So let me show you how we're going to do this. The first thing we're going to do is look at how the products and coupons are set up. Here in WooCommerce, I have a product called Topher's Plugin. You'll note that my plugin name has an apostrophe, and the slug does not. It simply removed it. That's going to be important later, so remember that. And we'll scroll down, and you'll see that in Woo, it is a simple product that is virtual, downloadable, and costs $100. Then under marketing and coupons, we have a coupon called Cyber Weekend. It is a 10% discount. Now let's go look at how that's set up in FastSpring. FastSpring also has a Cyber Weekend coupon for 10% off. And when we go to products, you'll see there's Topher's Plugin for $100. Now, here we're going to talk about that apostrophe again. WooCommerce simply removed it and left nothing. FastSpring removed it and put a hyphen. That's not a problem, but they need to match. I edited FastSpring to remove the hyphen, but I could have edited Woo to add it. It doesn't matter, but they have to match for this process to work. So keep that in mind. That'll be a debugging point at some point, I promise. Now, you could write a little code to leverage the API to keep your products in sync. But for the purposes of this video, we're not going to do that. So now that we have our product set up on both ends the same way, let's look at some code. We're going to be editing WooCommerce template files. The theme I'm using is a Cadence WP child theme. And then I created in there a WooCommerce folder. And then from the WooCommerce plugin folder in their templates folder, I copied single product, add to cart, and then even though there were multiple files there, I only grabbed the one I needed, which is simple.php. And all that creates is this little form right here. So let's open it up and take a look. The first thing I want to point out is we've globalized $product. That means this template knows a lot about the product. The second thing I want to point out is that it checks to make sure that the product is in stock and that it is purchasable. If it is, then it fires up this action hook, which we're just going to skip over, and starts this HTML form. And that's what we want to get rid of. So we skip to the bottom and snip it out. Now, when we reload, we should see no form, and that's perfect. So now let's replace it. We're going to go to the FastSpring documentation, and there's a sample code here for simple pop-up, and we're going to use all of it. So I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. And then we'll take a look at what this code does. The first script here includes some JavaScript from FastSpring, and that does the magic. We don't have to mess with that at all. But there's a reference here to storefront, and this demo code is not our storefront. So I'm going to go back to FastSpring and click storefronts, and right here is the full URL of my storefront, but you'll note the only different part is the prefix. So I'm going to change that in both of those places. And that's all that needs to happen for that script bit. Now let's look at the next section, which is an HTML button. The only two parts we need to change here are this value, which right now is Fote.io main-app, and it needs to be the slug of our product. But we don't want to hard-code it because, or every product would have the same link. We don't want that. So let's put in a little PHP. There, now we're echoing the globalized product and the slug that's contained inside and escaping the output, of course. The next thing we need to change is the button label. And you can make this be anything you want, but I'm going to make it say, buy now with FastSpring. So let's take a look at it now. And there we are. If I click the button, we have our modal. Now you'll note that we're still not pulling in the names and the coupon. So let's do that next. So for the next bit, we're going to get some different code from the FastSpring docs. And that is this code here on the populate order information with the URL page. And we need all of the code in this block. So I'm going to use this handy button, copy it, and then right above our button, I'm going to paste it. Now let's go to the top of this and see what's going on. There are two script blocks. The first one simply parses the URL and gets the get variables that are in it. And let me show you what I mean by that. So in my URL, I have here fname, lname, email, and coupon. And the JavaScript is getting those variables and is going to use them in the form. And it does that in the next block, which is right here. Now, the only thing you need to change in all of this code is that $sign right there, because WordPress doesn't know how to deal with that in jQuery. So you have to replace it with the word jQuery. And it is camel case like that. So what it does is create a JSON object labeled S. And then if there is an email and an fname and an lname in the URL, it needs all three, it will put them into the contact info. Then, if there is a coupon, it'll put that in the coupon object. Now, I want to point out that we're using WooCommerce here, and your user may very well be logged in. And if they are, you could grab it from their login information, the cookie that is set, rather than grabbing it from the URL, which would make the URL a lot prettier. But you can go either way. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to point out that you can. So let's save that and reload and buy now. And there we are. At the top, we have our 10% discount. We have Cyber Weekend, my email, my first name, and my last name. From here, you can use FastSpring's webhooks to let Woo know that the transaction was successful, so that you can grant the user access to your plugin. Stay tuned for my next video where I'll unpack how, or you can read up on webhooks on the FastSpring developer documentation now. Well, I hope you enjoyed that build. Thanks, everyone.